Good morning, everybody. Right, once you've harvested your Impala, I would recommend to hang it for at least 5 to 7 days in the cold room so that the meat could tender up. Right, so after you've done that, as you can see, I'm alone again, so it is a bit of a struggle. The Impala is a bit big for the machine. So what you can do is you just trim it off around the shanks, around the thicker shanks. Just trim them off a bit, and then you can start quartering out your Impala. Right, once you've halved the back, um, your back half, you can cut it along the backbone, take out the tail, and then you can start cutting the steak area out of the rump. You can use your or your guide to see how thick you would like to cut the pieces. This is all to your preparation. So if you like a thicker steak, you can cut it thicker. I personally don't like it too thick. um, yeah, that's basically what that is used for. Watch out for your fingers as well. Then you can use the other side. You can do the same. Normally I cut one side I cut up into chops and steaks, and then the other side I'll just halve it up for a nice big roast if you have family over on weekends, or so on. All right, so this is the other side. You see, I just leave the half of that one of the rump. I just leave for a roast. I like making some roast. You can have a nice marinade. You can spice it up, put it back into your fridge for a couple of days, as I said, and then just cook it up on weekends when you have a bunch of friends over. So that is what I do with the back half. There are plenty different methods. This is just using a bandsaw, obviously. Right, then we will take off the neck. The neck, there's a few things you can do with the neck. I just like trimming it up, taking off all the bloody pieces, um, trimming in the sides off where it doesn't look that good. Impala does have a bit of a reddish color to the meat, so it is a bit dark, in other words. Then I just cut medallions with them. Medallions are really good as well to put in a roast. Then you can also half them up, or even quarter them, to your preparation. Again, it all depends on what your liking is. I like to quarter them out because then they fit into my pot perfectly, and then I normally make a stew. The neck you can leave as well. Sometimes I leave the neck half, and I cut half into medallions, also for a roast. A neck roast is very, very, very delicious. To the front half, I normally like just to cut just behind the shoulder blade. I half it down again, so you have the front portion that you can work with, and then I cut it along the backbone, try and center it perfectly so your cuts work out nice and good, just like that. That is perfect. Then I cut it just above the shoulder, so you can have a nice square piece of meat. This is basically going to be your chuck area. This will be like a chuck chop chuck steak, beautiful cuts, nice and soft. I would recommend this meat just for you to marinate it and keep it in the fridge for a couple of days just to mature it up. And then Bob's your uncle. You can do the same on the other side as well. I like to use the bottom half of this cut. I would say your brisket area, where your brisket and your shank gets together. I use for a roast as well. That works really well. And then you just cut up the rest of your shank for a stew. So that's for the one side. I'd normally do the same on the other side as well, just to keep things quite simple. Right, then your rib sections, where your tenderloin is, your back straps. I normally cut it down the center as well, along the backbone. Cut off a good amount so you have at least, a nice chop on the one side, and the other side that your ribs are also nice and big. So I normally almost cut it in half. The ribs are nice as well, just to put over an open fire. Just give it some heat for a long amount of time, which makes it nice. There you'll see on the left hand side of the screen is a tenderloin and a back strap. That is also one of the best parts of any cut of any animal. The pieces I'm cutting now are rib chops that I think is prime. You can cut them to the size required by you, trim it up, make it nice and square, and there you have a roast. So really nice and simple, quite easy. If you have a bandsaw, there's quite a lot you can do with an Impala. Really good meat if you're a good cook. Exactly the same that I do on the other side. As you've seen, the ribs, I just give them a few slots so they are easier to cut once they are cooked. Right, beautiful cut meat, nice and fresh. There's nothing more thrilling about life than you knowing that you harvested this animal, you cut it up, you butchered it, you packaged it, and you filled up your freezer for you and your family. Look at the beautiful rib chops, nice and lean. I have a nice catch, clean and cook video about these rib chops that I made. Yeah, it's just a nice image for you to see all the different cuts. And then it's off to the vacuum machine. I use a Ovid vacuum machine. My settings normally are between 3 and 4 on the vacuum, and the seal is about between 5 and 6. It all depends on whatever you would like. Just make sure, one tip of the week, make sure that your bones are not sharp, because the more vacuum you give, the more the chances of the bone breaking through the plastic and your vacuum fails. So yeah, it's quite simple, nice and easy. The Ovid machine, I've had this Ovid machine probably for about 5 years now, and it works beautiful. Look at the packaging. Right guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit the subscribe button, that would help my channel a lot. Give it a good thumbs up. And then you're watching Bows, Guns, Rods and Reels. My name is Evan Smith. Have a good night.